Loyiso, thank you so much for joining us this morning, and what a great story, in my opinion, in any case. I hope I don't sound flippant, but what does a big rugby-playing looking character or brother like you from the Eastern Cape, how did you end up having a passion for olive oil, of all things?
So I grew up in a hardworking farming environment where we had some livestock, and during school holidays we'd go to Grahamstown and we'd love it. We'd spend the whole day out with sheep and livestock. And when I came to Cape Town and did my undergrad, I was employed for 2 years. And when I did get employed, I just never felt as if I was adding value to anything, and I just wasn't in a good space. So I decided to go back to what I knew and what I loved. And yeah, I went back to the agriculture space. And yes, how I went into olive oils is that I wanted to be part of a niche market. And I believe, and when I did my homework, did my research, I got to understand that there are no black participants in the olive oil industry. And being a young and rising entrepreneur like myself, I thought that this would be a great avenue for me to go into,
Loyiso, if I could just take you a few steps back before we delve into the technicalities and the craft, really, of making a world-class olive oil. There are many people that will say, but I work in a cubicle, I work in the corporate space. Yes, it doesn't have me doing cartwheels every day, but it is a job. But there aren't many people who are courageous enough to say, you know what, this is not for me. I don't see myself staying in the world of finance. I think you were working in the world of finance. You were a financial advisor of all things, a great job that many of our families would say, stick with that and the world will take care of you. And you just decided, that's it, I'm hanging up my suit, as it were, and I'm going out into the fields. What kind of thought processes, if you can remember that time, went into that? And how did your family or those close to you react to your decision?
Yeah, I think the one thing that my mother did very well, being a single parent and all, did was to instill confidence. She taught me to back myself. She instilled, confidence. And if you put yourself, if you put your mind to something, you better back yourself, and you better do calculated risk, and you commit yourself to whatever makes you happy. And I think one of the values or principles that I live with in life, I want to be a man of value, not necessarily a man of success. So it was very easy for me to make that decision, because I knew that the business and agriculture space is something that would make me wake up, wake up wanting to make a difference, wanting to inspire others, So to me, it was. I was very clear about the decision. I shared it with my wife, and I shared it with my mother, and they said, "Listen, we believe in you. You've obviously done the calculations and the balance of forces and what you want to do. So yeah, we back you. We know that you back yourself, and yeah, go for it." And I mean, it's a joy. It's been a joy being in this space in my life.
And the joy can be seen just in the photos that we're showing of you with various stakeholders and with your product as well. Now, you have a passion for agriculture. You said from a young boy growing up, that's where that passion comes from. But access to agriculture, access to the business side of agriculture, access to land is something that we keep hearing is still a problem in South Africa. What are some of the obstacles that you came across, and how did you deal with them to get entry into this sector?
So, great question, Marcel. And I think I must just correct you there in your introduction. I describe myself as an aspiring entrepreneur. I have been looking to gain access or to get funding for a farm for the last 2 or 3 years. Sure. I still don't have access to the farm, but because I had been dedicated for a whole year trying to get funds from, your land banks and, government and, just private stakeholders, I spoke to the owner of the farm and I said, listen, really, you know that we've been through the pits trying to get this farm. You know my dedication. You know how I want to lead a brand, which has amazing health benefits for the people of South Africa. And I said, really, listen, please give me 50 bottles in December. Give me 50 bottles. And those 50 bottles were gone in a day. And I said, really, listen, I just give me 50 bottles. I'm going to brand it myself. And after about a month after I launched it on Facebook, I sold about 500 bottles. Now that's an amazing stat when you consider that I have no marketing team, I have no distribution team, but I've managed so far to sell about 1,200 bottles. So the access of land is still something that's very dear to my heart, and it's very difficult because you want to own land, you want to do things, but it's just that the red tape that some of our government officials, the land bank and the rural development, they just aren't coming up to the fore. You got young people who want to participate in working the land, who view the land question as gold.
Yeah.
Where there is land, there is fertility, there is growth, and there is development. But we've become frustrated because government is a bit lackluster when it comes to providing young people and old people with those opportunities. So it's really a frustrating issue. I still today I'm in that process. So yeah, I still want to get land. I still want to buy the farm, the olive farm. But these are challenges that you and I are aware of.
Yeah.
In terms of just rather assistant.
And I think there's lots of nodding of heads as people are watching our conversation right now, agreeing with what you're saying, as so many people are grappling with the very same situation. Let's move on to the olive oil now, Loyiso. I was thinking last night, don't tell Gareth sitting next to me, I was frying off some kusistas last night in some canola oil. And I was thinking how that, it used to just be sunflower oil that you use. Now I decide, okay, let me use canola oil, as it were. I'll bring you some next week. I didn't have time to syrup them this morning. And these are the products that we grew up with. And then we move into other cities. We get introduced to new products as South Africa was introduced into the greater world with democracy coming along and that kind of thing. And now a generation talks about olive oil. And we go to nice restaurants and we put the olive oil in the balsamic vinegar in a plate and we dip the bread in that, and it all just becomes part and parcel of what we do. Talk to me about your passion for olive oil, and when you talk to people about your product and why they should try it, what do you tell them?
You're right when you say, we grew up, using vegetable oil and all these type of oils. But you know what? The world is leading towards a healthier philosophy. Whether you go to DR, whether you go to Soweto, whether you go to Anda, Joseph Fingo, whether you go to anywhere in the country, people in the mornings are waking up, they are jogging, they are living healthy. And I think the pandemic also has kind of woken our people up to the reality that, one needs to be on top of the game in terms of their health. Now, you can do all of those things, but if you do not supplement it well with a good premium olive oil like mine, then it's all futile, because olive oil in its nature, it's grown, it's started in the Mediterranean, Tunisia, and so forth. But this olive oil, it helps reduce diabetes, type 2 diabetes. It helps reduce strokes. It helps high blood pressures, reduces them. So it's a health product that can be used for a series of things, for your skin, for eczema. I know a colleague of mine who's Muslim, and she says when their kids have got eczema, they apply olive oil in their hair. So it's a product that can be daily used. And I think my clients love the way that my olive oil blended. They love the sophistication of the spiciness behind the palate. They love the tomato and the hazelnuts that they feel. It's just my Ubuntu extra virgin olive oil is just heads above any other. And it's magnificently, I always say, it's magnificently or unnecessarily well blended. And it speaks for itself.
Well, I'm sure
those-
Loyiso, I'm going to stop you right there because it does speak for itself, but you speak for it very well as well. No wonder you have sold over 1,000 bottles of Ubuntu extra virgin olive oil, and the penny just dropped because it is Ubuntu Evoo. That's extra virgin olive oil. I just realized that's what it meant. That's Loyiso Manga. You can find him all over social media. Ubuntu Evoo, E-V-O-O, is their product, but also such a great story. And an ordinary young South African trying to get a product off the ground and talking about the challenges that he still faces, but he's not letting that stay or stand in his way. So we thank him for telling us his story.